Story time. Yeah, that's kind of yeah. That one's that one's a foggy topic actually. But the first social media experience that made you think times really are changing. Now, I have been around since the absolute boom of just social media and the internet in general. Back in the times when people's main websites were that of MySpace and Bebo. And I don't think anyone really knows what Bebo is anymore. Like gosh, that is old. Like that is definitely some what 03, 05. Like it didn't even reach the teens for like the 2010s or whatever. But I've been on social media so long, I kind of grew up with it. So for me to say times really are changing, well, for the most part, times really are changing. I think the best way to put it, there's a lot of content creators that are out there in the world now. And a lot of people are seeing this as just, hey, I could actually make a living off of this. I could actually go be an influencer. I can actually make Vines, TikToks, YouTube videos, and actually be able to provide for myself. And with just that entire generational boom, I mean, I guess I can be admitted. I can admit that much, but I just sat idly by and just wanting to also do that. In one way, it's like I was lying to myself that it was something that I didn't want to do as much. But to see a lot of a lot of people make content, especially those back then, to know like there's some of them are still referenced to this day, but no one knows the source or the origin of it. One of the better examples is you don't often hear people credit you don't often hear people credit like the folks at My Way Entertainment when they do references to Juggernaut Bitch, because man, that whole series, you can probably still find remnants of it on YouTube, and it's a hilarious. It is really heckin' hilarious and was great for its time. I feel like a lot of the things on that particular series now, even that wouldn't necessarily fly too well in this climate. It's like, gosh, yeah. So for a lot of folks, the whole idea of times are really changing, as far as what I've observed, is yeah, it's both just by seeing these content creators back then, some of them not being on like a upper echelon or more recognized, and some of them actually breaking through and doing more things is kind of mind-boggling, because it really puts into perspective of, some of us all we had to do was also put in that work, have that willingness and resilience to see it through to the other side, and we could have just as easily been sitting there with them with a little bit of luck. So, and I understand sometimes, like when you start to gain notoriety or gain actual traction, it's like things will change, and sometimes it's not for the better. Like having notoriety or having that type of popularity, I can't feasibly imagine. I can't feasibly imagine both how gratifying that can be, how much of an ego boost that can be, and in some cases, how lonely that can be. Because sometimes you don't make it with a team. And sometimes you just don't have homies. You've just been doing this yourself. And now everybody thinking you're... Now you don't know if somebody wants to be your homie or if somebody just has an ulterior motive just to get their name out there. And heck, that can tie into things today, you know? There's a lot of VTubers that would assume it's like, you know, some of them do not have pure intentions. I sit here and I'm on my Gintaro tip if you've watched Kamen Rider Fourze, and just like, you know, I just want to be friends with everyone. I don't care how big you are. I want to talk with you and have fun with some of the things that we have in common with, because I know there's not a lot that I necessarily have in common with a lot of the other folks, but just having words, enjoying this hobby that we all seem to love at the same time, even though our worlds or niches can be a bit different. Fourze, now there's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Yeah. If I could actually make my accessories, I would actually have a belt that is heavily inspired by Kamen Rider Agito. So I was converted to a Kamen Rider fan by one of my friends, and we just call him King nowadays. So you would catch him in chat here and there, but long story short, that's just one of the many people that I wish we could have all came up together with. They're still around, don't get me wrong. It's just a lot of decision making that some roads are kind of forced to be traveled alone because circumstances in life gets in the way of everything. Really. It's kind of sucks, but he's, you know, those friends are still around. So it's not terrible. I've only watched, give or take, 2 or 3 episodes of Kamen Rider Fourze though. So forgive me for that. And I feel like I've strayed entirely from the first social media experience. I think I put an end on that statement, but I guess the best way to TLDR that is by the time the days of Vine ended and people started to grow more as content creators, and the absolute boom of influencers changed the climate of all life around us. Because there's a lot of people that wants this, that wants to do that, but they don't really know, or they're not as willing as they think they are. And as I'm pretty sure anyone will tell you, the stuff does not happen overnight. It takes consistency, it takes drive, it takes innovation, and yeah, it takes luck too, but it's rough. So I really be out here like, hey, if somebody notices me and for some reason I get big, that's gonna be a bit daunting, but part of me have always felt like I'm ready for it, but I worry for those who aren't. And honestly, so long as there's still that one little piece of you, no matter how scared you kind of get with that future, just having the confidence to pull through is even if it's false confidence, just to get yourself through the door, like that helps so much. It really do.
いえ、大丈夫です。隠していたつもりはありませんから。
I probably should mark that just to make sure, because man, clipping these story times get a little more difficult if I didn't have the ability to like properly be like, okay, let me just clip this properly, or just let me just put this stream marker up so that I can find it when I look through the mod, look through the vibe properly, because oh gosh.